to raise me up a crop of...
Frank Zappa was one of the most fearless, original, and musically complex artists to ever live. Throughout his career, Zappa spoke openly about the musicians he admired. Not mainstream stars, but groundbreaking virtuosos, composers, and innovators who inspired his sound. Today, we reveal 10 musicians Frank Zappa himself praised, respected, and considered his all-time favorites. 1. Igor Stravinsky. For Frank Zappa, his love affair with music didn't begin with rock, blues, or jazz. It began with Igor Stravinsky. Zappa discovered the rite of spring at a young age, and the experience hit him with the force of a revelation. He described it as hearing an entire universe crack open at once. The chaotic rhythms, the explosive orchestrations, the refusal to follow conventional beauty, all of it shaped the young Zappa's imagination. Stravinsky became a musical father figure, someone who proved that art didn't have to follow rules, trends, or commercial expectations. Zappa studied Stravinsky's scores obsessively, learning how to layer dissonance, how to create tension, and how to build drama using rhythm rather than melody. Decades later, when Zappa performed ambitious orchestral pieces with the London Symphony Orchestra or the Ensemble Modern, the fingerprints of Stravinsky were everywhere. Even Zappa's fiercest satirical rock moments can trace their DNA back to Stravinsky's boldness. To Zappa, Stravinsky wasn't just a favorite composer, he was the spark that lit his entire creative fire. Without Stravinsky, Zappa always hinted his music might have taken a completely different path. 2. Edgard Varese. If Stravinsky started the fire, Edgard Varese turned it into a volcano. Zappa idolized Varese more than any other modern composer. At 15, he was so obsessed that he tried to call Varese on the phone, something he later retold as one of the most emotional moments of his childhood. Varese's work, especially Ionization, gave Zappa permission to think beyond melody and harmony entirely. Varese treated sound like raw physical material, noise, metal, percussion, electronics. And that philosophy electrified Zappa. He loved Varese's belief that music is organized sound, and Zappa carried that idea into every genre he explored: rock, orchestral, jazz fusion, experimental satire, even spoken word. Varese taught him that music could be chaotic yet structured, abrasive yet meaningful. When Zappa finally met Varese's widow years later, he said it felt like standing next to a sacred flame. His respect was so deep that he dedicated early albums to Varese, and he often insisted that Varese was the most important composer of the 20th century. For Zappa, Varese wasn't just a favorite musician. He was the guiding star of Zappa's entire artistic identity. 3. Johnny Guitar. Watson, few musicians influenced Zappa's guitar style the way Johnny Guitar Watson did. Zappa grew up idolizing Watson's swagger, humor, and blazing blues technique. Watson wasn't just a guitarist. He was a performer with attitude, personality, and command. Zappa often said that Watson shaped his sense of rhythm, phrasing, and stage presence long before he ever picked up a Stratocaster. When Zappa became famous, he didn't hide his admiration. He invited Watson to collaborate on multiple albums. Watson appeared on One Size Fits All, Zoot Allures, and Them or Us, always bringing soul, funk, and spontaneity to Zappa's elaborate arrangements. Zappa loved Watson's ability to make complex music feel effortless and natural. Their chemistry was undeniable. Zappa once described Watson as one of the coolest guys ever to walk into a recording studio, and he meant every word. For Zappa, Watson represented the perfect blend of musical skill, personality, and authenticity, everything Zappa himself tried to embody as a guitarist. 4. Clarence Gatemouth Brown Zappa always loved musicians who refused to be trapped in a box, and Clarence Gatemouth Brown fit that philosophy perfectly. Brown wasn't just a bluesman. He was a multi-genre force of nature who played blues, jazz, country, R&B, and Cajun with equal mastery. Zappa admired Brown's independence and fearless improvisation, often saying that Brown represented the real deal in American music. From the sharp attack of his guitar picking to the expressive grit in his voice, Brown showed that a musician could be technically brilliant and emotionally raw at the same time. Zappa especially respected Brown's ability to mix musical cultures without ever losing authenticity. He studied Brown's phrasing and incorporated that sense of rhythmic elasticity into his own guitar work. Brown didn't chase trends, didn't compromise his sound, and didn't care about commercial pressure. That rebellious spirit was exactly what Zappa valued. In Brown, Zappa saw a brother, someone who played by his own rules and let the music speak for itself. 5. Eric Dolphy. Frank Zappa often said that Eric Dolphy was the greatest musician who ever lived. That wasn't exaggeration. It was genuine admiration. Dolphy's avant-garde approach to the flute, bass clarinet, and alto saxophone fascinated Zappa. Dolphy's solos were unpredictable, angular, and filled with emotional urgency. For Zappa, listening to Dolphy was like stepping into another dimension, where melody and chaos danced together. He loved Dolphy's masterpiece, Out to Lunch, and recommended it to countless musicians. Zappa's own horn arrangements, especially during his Mothers of Invention years, were heavily influenced by Dolphy's adventurous phrasing. He admired musicians who challenged audiences instead of comforting them, and Dolphy was the embodiment of that philosophy. Dolphy's fearlessness pushed Zappa to create compositions that were equally daring, layered, and unpredictable. In Dolphy, Zappa found proof that music could be wild, intelligent, and spiritually deep all at once. 6. Muddy Waters. Long before he discovered Stravinsky or Varese, Zappa fell in love with the blues, and Muddy Waters was at the center of that love. As a teenager, Zappa collected every Muddy Waters record he could find. The gritty vocals, the electrifying riffs, the emotion behind every note. It all resonated with him. Zappa often said that the blues was honest music, and Muddy Waters represented that honesty perfectly. Even when Zappa ventured into complex orchestral or experimental territory, listeners could still hear the blues foundation in his guitar solos. Songs like Willie the Pimp owe as much to Muddy Waters as they do to any avant-garde composer. Zappa respected musicians who created emotion without artifice, and Muddy Waters became one of his lifelong heroes. To Zappa, Waters was the pure essence of American music. 7. Anton Webern Zappa had enormous admiration for the Second Viennese School, especially Anton Webern. He spoke often about Webern's ultra-compressed compositions, pieces just a few minutes long that carried the weight of symphonies. Zappa admired Webern's precision, discipline, and the way he reinvented musical language. Many of Zappa's orchestral works borrow Webern's structural ideas, short bursts, sudden shifts, and intricate patterns. 8. Howlin Wolf.
She went away.
Howlin Wolf's voice and presence had a profound impact on Zappa's understanding of performance. Zappa loved his deep, booming delivery and unpolished emotional honesty. Songs like Smokestack Lightning shaped the way Zappa thought about energy in music, not perfect technique, but raw conviction. Wolf represented the primal heart of American music, something Zappa always respected. 9. Jimi Hendrix. Zappa and Hendrix admired each other deeply. Zappa called Hendrix one of the only guitarists who ever scared me, meaning Hendrix was so good it pushed him to improve. He loved Hendrix's fearlessness, experimentation, and stage intensity. While their styles were different, Zappa respected that Hendrix constantly explored new sounds, new pedals, and new musical ideas. Exactly the kind of bold creativity Zappa valued most. 10. Ruth Underwood. Among his own musicians, Ruth Underwood was one of Zappa's absolute favorites. Her mastery of percussion, marimba, vibes, xylophone, allowed Zappa to compose incredibly complex pieces, knowing she could execute them flawlessly. Zappa called her astonishing, praising her discipline, sight-reading ability, and emotional sensitivity. She wasn't just a band member, she was a central part of Zappa's most intricate musical era. Frank Zappa's taste in music reveals who he truly was. A fearless innovator who respected boundary breakers, rule destroyers, and artists who treated music as an adventure. His favorite musicians weren't chosen for popularity. They were chosen for originality, intensity, and genius. And through their influence, they helped shape one of the most unique musical minds in history.